Good morning. We're so glad that all of you could join us this morning. Amtrak has served Connersville since 1990, and members of the local Rotary Club raised money to build this shelter for Amtrak's passengers. And we actually have a member of that Rotary Club here with us today. Dick Hankins, raise your hand. He was part of the, so yeah. Thank you so much. In the past week, if you look at the Minuteman over there in the Veterans Memorial Park, a citizen, Claudia Banks, donated her time to repaint that Minuteman. And if I had known before this morning that she did that, I would have made an effort to see that she was here, but we would like to thank her for her generosity. It's people like you and people like her, and the citizens of Connersville, that make Connersville the city that it is. Closer? Okay. Did you hear what I just said? Good. Today we celebrate Amtrak's latest investment in our community with this ribbon cutting. A nearly $2 million project with improvements, not the least of which is the construction of this new platform which meets the specifications of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Thank you, Amtrak, for your continued presence in Connersville, and we look forward to many more years. Okay, I'm going to hand this over to Mayor Frank for a few remarks from him.
Thank you. Well, good morning. It's good to see each and every one of you here. I don't know how long it's been since Amtrak called me and asked me if we would decide to be behind this project. I said, absolutely, we're behind this project. It's great to have a stop right here in Connersville. I really don't know the numbers, but Amtrak can tell you how many small communities actually have a train stop. I imagine it's not very many. So I take a very special pride in the fact that we have a train stop here, right here in Connersville. It's ADA accessible for everyone to use. So Amtrak, thank you for your investment. We're glad to have you part of our community.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to recognize a few people who are here from Connersville City Council. Brian Robb, who's our Vice President of Council, and Becky Gibson, who is a member of our Board of Works. Dan Parker, who is Director of, he's out there, yeah, there you are, Director of EDG. From Federal Railroad Administration, we have Kelsey Somerville. You can raise your hand, or there she is over there. We have Lonnie Murray, Senior Director of ADA Stations and Office of Accessibility, and Michael Phillips, the Director with ADA Stations Program. We have Renee Kaziski, Regional Assistant for Stations, Assistant Manager, I should say, for Stations. We have Derek James from Amtrak, who is Director of Government Affairs. Mark Magliari, Senior Manager of Media Relations. Colleen Clear, Project Manager of this project. And we have Vice President Dan Handera of Amtrak, who would like to say a few words.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here and represent Amtrak and our senior leadership in celebrating this event. This is exciting to see where we are today and where we've come from. Coming out here about a year ago and seeing the project under construction and then ultimately seeing a finished, fully accessible product is simply outstanding. But there's a number of other individuals, and thank you so much for the introductions for the Amtrak staff. And it takes a city and more than a city to make a project like this a success. It also starts with a general contractor, EEI, and the team that's here today. And make sure I got the right. We have Dan Eastman, who's the president, Peter Barafoldi, who's the VP, and Dave Heaton, who was our superintendent on the project that made this a reality. Amtrak is focused on accessibility. To date, we've spent $770 million in making our stations compliant. And when you look at that, We have 118 stations fully compliant where we have responsibility for, and another 65 that we're going to be working on platforms like this. But like I say, it takes a city, and without the tireless support from Mayor Frank and the rest of the community, we wouldn't be here today. So Mayor Frank, thank you so much, and so happy to be here to cut this ribbon.
Mr. Heaton, would you like to come up and make a remark from Enfield Enterprises? I talked to you earlier, and was it you I talked to? Oh, I'm sorry. I knew I would mess something up. I feel better now. I don't have to worry about it. Peter Barafaldi, if you want to come up, you had a remark that you wanted to make, a story you wanted to relate with relation to this, and I think we'd like to hear it.
Hello everyone, my name is Peter Barafaldi. I'm the Vice President of Operations for Enfield Enterprises. We'd like to thank Amtrak for the opportunity. We'd like to thank Amtrak for the opportunity to perform this work and thank the town of Connorsville for inviting us to this ceremony. David Heaton did have an interaction with a patient, a passenger that brings light to this station, and he wanted to share that with everyone here at the town. So I'm going to hand it over to David Heaton. He was our construction superintendent.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. I just wanted to share a quick story. When this platform was completed on this side over here, one day I had a woman pull up here who was handicapped, and she was so excited that she was going to be able to use this because she travels frequently, and up until now, when she needed to get on the train, she would have to call the conductor personally, and he would have to stop in the middle of the road. So she was overwhelmed that this was going to be helping her, and I'm sure there's a lot of other passengers that's going to help too. So I just wanted to share that and let everyone know that, you know, what we're doing here is helping a lot of people. So thank you.
Is there anyone that I failed to recognize that I should have? Okay, either you're being quiet or I did okay. Absolutely.
So this is Dave Hunter again. So where's Kelsey? Okay. So when we talked about the $770 million that's being invested in these stations, that's part of a bigger bucket of money, close to $1.7 billion that Amtrak will be investing in stations throughout its network. And we work closely with the FRA on that. And Kelsey and her team, it starts at the top with Amit Bose, right on down to individuals that we work with on a daily basis, Courtney Opum, and it's their support, their tireless support in getting through the various approvals to make a project like this happen. And I really want to thank Kelsey and the FRA and the federal, the state, and the local partnerships that we have going forward. That's what makes this happen. That's what turns a dream into a reality. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Mayor, and all of the other interested parties that helped us get here. Thank you.
I want to say one thing. I want to thank our Chamber board members and diplomats for being here today. We really do appreciate the time that you take off from your busy schedules and work schedules to be here to recognize this occasion. Thank you.